Yeah.
Hello, I'm Dr. Bittiker. I'm back. We're going to cover some more topics this time. Again, I decided to get off what we've been covering here, the pauses. We've still got a few more to do, but I want to cover a topic here. This came across my desk earlier today, so I thought it'd be a timely thing to cover. Apparently, the powers that be have decided to change the definition of what's called hypertension, high blood pressure. It used to be that the kind of cutoff was 140 over 90. In case you're not wondering what those numbers mean, originally they were measured in millimeters of mercury. So your heart makes two sounds. If you ever listen to it with a stethoscope, you hear two sounds, the lub dub. Well, the systolic contraction is the ventricles contracting, and that's your high number that you get. It's like a pump. You know, if you have the old-fashioned pump with the lever and you pump down and the water squirts out of the pump, and then when you lift up, it stops squirting out and it recharges to fill the pump up with water, and then you pump again, it squirts out. Well, the high pressure is when the heart contracts. That's your systolic, and 140, maybe I'll just pick a number. And then when the heart relaxes and the other part of the heart fills with blood to get ready to pump again, that's the bottom number. It drops down to that number. The number never goes down to zero except if you're dead. And the difference between the two numbers is important as far as the difference. You don't want that number to go over 60. If it goes over 60, the difference between the systolic and diastolic, that can indicate hypertension and some other problems. But we'll cover more about that later. Anyway, the guidelines have changed once more. It used to be that anything over 140 over 90 was considered to be starting to get into hypertension. Anything under 140 over 90 was considered to be okay. A lot of controversy about that. Still is. Now that number's been lowered down to 130 over 80. So what did that do to you? Well, what it means is that it used to be that only 1 out of 3 Americans was officially labeled as having hypertension or high blood pressure. Now it's 1 out of 2. Half of you have high blood pressure according to these standards. Now, do I agree with these standards? Well, maybe I do, maybe I don't. The problem is that it's what it leads to that I have a problem with. You see, in America, the way we typically think of this stuff is well, I got high blood pressure. I'll just go to my medical doctor, give me a magic pill, and that's it. I'm done. Nothing to see here, nothing to worry about, no side effects, no problems. Did you ever, whenever you get a medication, ever pop open that box and take a look, take a little insert? You're going to have to get out magnifiers like this to be able to read that fine print because they don't really want you to know what's going on there because it's going to list all the side effects. Or you can go on the internet and look up all the side effects of stuff, and that doesn't scare you or get your attention. I don't know what will. So a lot of people just simply don't do it. They don't want to know about it. Well, my point is this, is that in my humble opinion, if you have what I would call mild or moderate or minimal hypertension, that is anything over 130 over 80, you might want to rethink taking a drug for this because the truth of the matter is the amount you might reduce your likelihood of developing a disease related to your high blood pressure is far less likely, in my opinion, than you're likely to bring on another disease by trying to use a drug to treat it. I'll give you an example. If you take your blood pressure and you drop it from 140 over 90 to 130 over 80, how much did you reduce your likelihood of having a stroke? How much? Well, that's a real good question. Depends on what studies. I've seen estimates anywhere from 20% down to 0. I know there's that much difference in opinion. And so same thing with heart attacks. Again, the effect is very minor there, 2, 3, 4, or 5% reduction. You think, well, that's better than nothing. I get that. But the drug that you're taking to bring on that slightly decreased likelihood of having a stroke or heart attack, among other diseases related to hypertension, what did that do to you? Well, it may raise your likelihood of having kidney failure by 400%. It may increase your likelihood of having liver damage or liver failure by 50%. It may have brought a likelihood of increasing asthma, bringing on an asthma attack in you by 50%. Or chronic obstructive or pulmonary disease. It may have caused a lot of problems. So you may be jumping from the frying pan into the fire. You may not really be doing yourself any good here. So I'm going to give you some things you can do with a mild and moderate hypertension that work very, very well and are very, very safe. Now let's go over some of the drugs here that are commonly used to treat high blood pressure. One class are your thiazide diuretics. These are the ones that work. They're kind of like they're called water pills. They increase the amount of sodium and water excreted in the urine by the kidneys. It's thought that they lower blood pressure mainly by reducing the volume of fluid in your blood vessels. Okay, makes sense. So people that take these drugs, they notice they have a lot of, they urinate a lot. Some examples of these drugs are Diamox, Thalidomide, Tenoritic, Chloropress, Hydrodiuryl, Macrozide, Lozol, Xeroxalin. Those are some examples of some of the names here. There's a lot of others. There's dozens of these things. But that's the common ones. Now, what are the side effects that you commonly see with these thiazide diuretics? Because they're among the most commonly used drugs to treat hypertension. They are hypokalemia, which is low potassium levels. By the way, when you have low potassium levels, it can bring on severe fatigue, it can bring on an irregular heartbeat, just as elevated potassium levels can also bring on irregular heartbeat. Frequent urination, these people are running to the bathroom a lot, and they can set off some nasty gout attacks in some people, and also erectile dysfunction in men. Maybe 30, 40, 50% of the men that take this get that. They don't tell you about that little side effect when you take it. Let me show you how to avoid having that problem today. Another group of drugs that are commonly used to treat hypertension are your beta blockers. Beta blockers block the effect of adrenaline on your cardiovascular system, slow the heart rate, reduce stress on the heart and arteries. So how does that work? Your adrenal glands secrete adrenaline, which is a vasoconstrictor, causes your arteries to constrict. It's kind of a stress hormone. If you're being chased by a tiger, you want your arteries and your extremities to constrict and take the blood to your arteries so you can keep your heart pumping and keep your muscles going. But you don't want that happening all the time. One of the ways to show up in a lot of people is just simply very cold fingers or something like that. But that's not pathognomonic. It's not indicative. But beta blockers are also sometimes used to give it to people who have very nervous reactions, anxiety attacks. They give it to them, and because it suppresses the adrenal function, it doesn't accelerate the heartbeat like you typically get with an anxiety reaction. So it does work for that somewhat. But again, we're into some major side effects. What are the side effects of some of your beta blockers? Well, you can get hypotension, where your blood pressure goes too low. You can also get dyspnea, shortness of breath. It can bring on an asthma attack. If you have any COPD, it can make it far worse. In fact, even life-threatening. Sexual dysfunction, erectile dysfunction, fatigue, and depression. Depression is a biggie. Beta blockers are notorious for bringing on depression. Worsening symptoms, and also peripheral artery disease. That's where the coldest extremity comes in, and even Raynaud's disease, where you can have severe disruption of the circulation in the tips of the fingers. In fact, we have a machine here, our little oximetry test here that has a perfusion index. We measure that in people to see what level of problems they have here with the constriction in the finer arteries in the tips of the fingers, the capillary bed. Another group are the calcium channel blockers. Calcium channel blockers can reduce blood pressure by dilating the arteries, in some cases reducing the force of the heart's contraction. That may or may not be a good idea. Remember, this is sometimes associated with congestive heart failure. People begin to have difficulty with their heart pumping enough blood to perfuse the organs and get out to the ends of their toes and fingers, and it may be because they're taking a drug that's inhibiting the ability of the heart to contract and actually damages the heart. So that's why we've seen a sudden uptick in congestive heart failure in patients, and even cardiomyopathies. I think a lot of it is due to these calcium channel blockers. They damage the heart muscle in the long run. Examples of this are Norvasc, Cardizem, Plendil, Dinoxert, Cardine, Procardia. These are all typical drugs that do that. By the way, you know there is a natural calcium channel blocker. Guess what it is? It's magnesium. Works great. In fact, one of the theories about what calcium channel blockers do is it's not that you want to block the calcium, it's just that you don't have enough magnesium in your diet. Most people are magnesium deficient in their diet. You give them magnesium, a lot of times their blood pressure will stabilize very nicely on its own, which is one of the reasons why the DASH diet works, because it's high in magnesium. More about that later. Another class of drugs that are sometimes used are, let me see here, I'll pull this up on my friendly little computer here, angiotensin receptor blockers. Angiotensin receptor blockers reduce blood pressure by dilating the arteries. Angiotensin is a hormone secreted by your kidneys. It controls the blood pressure, and it puts a lot of stress. Some of the examples of some of the drugs in this class are Catapress, Cardura, Ytensin, Tenarex, and hydroxyzine hydrochloride, Prezolone, Aldomet, etc. And now there's combinations they use these drugs. Now, what are some of the side effects of this particular group of drugs? They are, I'll give you here in a second, get Get back up here. Here we go. Just a second. Ran right by it again. They are hyperkalemia, which is elevated potassium, loss of a sense of taste, cough. They can exacerbate asthma and other conditions like that. Also, they, again, sexual dysfunction and depression are some of the side effects of this. So you see, a lot of people end up taking a medication to treat a particular thing like hypertension, and then they end up taking drugs to counteract the side effects of the drugs. Well, there's another way to handle this, and I'll show you how it's done here. Much simpler, much safer. First of all, you go to our website, naturalhealthandandyou.com, naturalhealthu.com. Look through the section there, and you'll see a part there on the DASH diet. This is called the DASH diet. It's a diet used to treat hypertension. Your tax dollars pay for the research on this stuff. That diet has been shown to be as effective as any medication you can take. There you go. There's another diet that is probably even better, in my opinion. That's the paleo diet. That's my friend, the paleo diet that I recommend. The caveman diet, you can call it that, or primal diet. You can go to a website called Primal Palate, PRIMALPALETE.com, and you can enroll in that for free, and you can show you all the recipes and menus and things you can pick and choose to do eat several different forms of the paleo diet. And that itself is a high vegetarian, it's not 100% vegetarian, but it's high plant-based diet with a little bit of protein, contrary to what you might believe about the primal diet. There's that. There's also a couple other things that can be done. One of our biggest things is this. This is some pretty amazing stuff. You might want to go to the website, naturalnews.com, and the little search engine up there, type in nitric, N-I-T-R-I-C, oxide, O-X-I-D-E. Now, this is called nitric oxide ultra. It's made by a company called Pure Encapsulations. It uses citrulline, which is a precursor for arginine, and also a special cranberry juice extract. This stuff is excellent. We can put patients a little powder, mix it in some water, drink it down, tastes theoretically like watermelon. And they can do that, and within a matter of 20 to 30 minutes, they can get a significant 10, 15, 20-point drop in their blood pressure. It works that quickly with a lot of people, and it has a sustained effect. That's what the cranberry juice is based on Canadian research. So you can go to PureCap's website and see their research on this. It works excellently for people that have high blood pressure, mild to moderate high blood pressure. Also for people that have irregular heartbeats, because it's got the taurine, it's the membrane stabilizer. So we use that. We also use a product here called Vascular Relax, and this is based on some study done in Canada where a similar product using this particular class of natural substances, 80% of people that took this supplement were able to get off of their medication for high blood pressure and use this in only in a mild dose with zero, nada side effects. What does this have in it? Well, it's got hawthorn in it, which has been shown to reduce blood pressure modestly. It's also got the olive leaf extract oleoropine. Excellent studies on that for reducing blood pressure. It's also got the cranberry extract too, which is a vasodilator, and it also has the lycopene, which itself has been shown to do that, and also the pomegranate extract, which is, in fact, you can go to Life Extension Foundation's website, lef.org, and read their research on the use of pomegranate to reverse plaquing in the arteries. So this works very, very well for mild to moderate hypertension with like zero side effects. Oh, and one more thing. Very interesting research on this. There's an artificial, well, it's not artificial, it's actually a natural sweetener called stevia, S-T-E-V-I-A. You can buy it at the regular food stores. I use it in my coffee every morning. Take a pack of that, put it in there. I like a little sweetness in my coffee. It actually tastes, I can't tell the difference between that and sugar, but it has 0 calories, so it's good for you people on your diet. But also, it has been shown in a study, just a modest amount to lower blood pressure, 9.5% within a matter of an hour or so. Something that simple. You combine the diet, these supplements, and you can get this thing under control, and you don't need to put up with all these nasty side effects of these drugs. You got a question, call 800-326-5838. That's 800-326-5838. You can go to our website, Natural Health and You. Also, you like us? Well, then share us with your friends, okay? And we're going to be covering other topics at the time. You want to email us at sbittiker@aol.com. You can. Just like we did here, we'll cover your particular topic you've got a question about. We'll research it, give you some researched answers on this, and you can use that information yourself. as I said, give us a call, and if you or call us, send an email to us, and we'll answer your questions. Thanks for watching.